Today's episode of the Dubai Builder podcast, which I'm hosting here live from Burj Khalifa. In today's episode, you will meet Carolin, who is a 2-times founder here in Dubai, and she's sharing with us two things: why it's so important to make business with the right people, especially if you're starting your company with a co-founder, and why you might want to ditch traditional networking event at all, and what kind of events to visit instead. So enjoy today's episode, and if you have any feedback, leave them in the comments below. Much for joining today's podcast, where I interview Dubai founders and builders who are building amazing stuff in the city. I'm really excited to have you here today. Why don't you tell about how you arrived in Dubai, I think 7 years ago, you mentioned that. How did you start your company and how did the ball get started?
Oh my God, you're ready for the chaos. It was definitely not a straight journey. I came to Dubai 7 years ago. Like most of us, right? We feel like we are stuck somewhere, and like here you just have the energy of doing things, and people just hustle and want to get something done. But I think what's also important here is that you know what you're doing it for, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise you're just running in a million directions. I definitely knew I wanted to do something that helps people. At that time I didn't know what. It was clear to me at some point when I came over to Dubai that a lot of people are struggling with finding a job, that there's a disconnect in how companies and employees are connecting. I think it's still something that people are extremely frustrated about. So that's where the idea for my first startup was born. But at that time I knew for the GCC I didn't have the right network. I knew I had to build my life here first, build a network to be able to grow a business. Maybe that was the German approach, like a perfectionist approach, you know. I mean, other people would have just probably built it. I was like, I need the network. But everyone who's in the GCC knows that everything is about relationships here, which can be a good and a bad thing at the same time. It doesn't make things easier, but it's understandable. For a couple of years I was building my network. I had a job as an IT manager, and then I basically bootstrapped the startup. So at some point I was okay, I have built the network. Fortunately, then last year I lost it to my co-founder. That's what happens in the tech startup scene.
What was the startup all about? What was the focus?
It was basically tech recruitment. Basically we wanted to bring tech and emotional intelligence, so basically tech and human together. That was always very important to me. I think we always go to extremes where we have either the complete focus on tech or complete human and everyone hates each other. So I was trying to be more of kind of the common ground, right? Where you bring both together and you see the benefits of both sides. So I was basically focusing on how can you bring the technology in, but you're not losing the human touch, and bring in the emotional intelligence, and how can you balance both. So that was basically about like how companies can identify the right talent faster, and talent can identify the right positions for them faster, so they don't apply to the wrong position. And then unfortunately I had this really unlucky painful experience of losing it to someone that you trusted. That trust was abused, and I just had to take the decision to move forward. So now I'm focusing on service business. I now have the 360 view, right, from someone who's been a consultant, partially of the Big Four. Then I had the tech startup. I was internally an IT manager managing multi-million-dollar programs. So I feel like I have the 360 view from different angles to see the challenges if it comes to adopting new trends. So I was like, okay, I see the fear and the hype in AI, and I feel like we always go from one extreme to the next, and no one is trying to find the balance. And that's why I felt like, okay, there's definitely a gap where I help leaders, especially mid-sized businesses, to build the right AI foundation, because it's not a tool, it's a capability. It's something completely new that we don't understand. We have basically entered an intelligence economy, and you need to understand, it's basically a mirror, and you need to understand how to build a good foundation. You're not going to build Burj Khalifa on sand, right? You're going to first have a solid foundation, then you can run. And it's basically where I help them to show them also with quick wins, how can you already have an impact on your P&L and not just run fancy projects that's just going to cost you money, not lead anywhere. Right, so that's basically what I focus on now. So it was a long journey.
Amazing. So, but it's
in a nutshell,
it's relatively new, right? You're just kind of bootstrapping this right now as you.
Yeah. So I started that after I had to obviously close the startup. For a couple of months now. So
exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's really interesting.
You already said like you were building the network in the very beginning, which is like a foundation. How would you suggest someone who's just coming into the region? How would you start with the networking if you don't know anybody? What has maybe helped you? Any kind of specific programs or communities you have joined?
I think that there's already a step too far ahead. I think let's start with the stop. Maybe that's too German right now. But let's start with the stop. Stop being opportunistic. I think one of the biggest mistakes people do here they come and they want. They come into the region, they're like, okay, I want something from him, I want something from him, A, B, C. That's not how you network. You build relationships. The question is, what do you want to have, right? And everyone who is here knows how fast the market moves, and there's always someone who wants something from you. And that's when you build a wall. Network is based on a relationship. The good network is based on a relationship. So what I never did is asking for things at the beginning. Maybe also because I'm in general not comfortable asking for things, which is another problem that some people need to solve. It's like a bank account. And I'm not talking about the Dubai bank account, like personal credit and so on. I'm talking about the actual bank account where you put money first in before you take it out.
True.
Right? And that's the same with networking here. You first need to build the trust. You first need to build the relationship, and that people like you. They know they can trust you. They know that you're someone who's serious about what they're doing, because you have too many people in this region coming here just for the fast money, because I think everything is easy, taking from people and leaving again. People want to see that you're legit, right? And I think you need to build that first. So it can take years to build a good network. I've built it now for 6 years across the GCC, but I put effort into it. I was flying to different countries. I check in on people because I actually care, and I think people see the difference between someone who cares about the relationships and just doesn't do it for the outcome. I'm genuinely interested in their lives. I'm genuinely interested in that they're successful, and that's basically supporting each other, right? And I think that's how I did it from the start. And it takes usually years to build a network like that. So I was like, stop asking for things, create value for other people, see how you can support them in their journey. And that's how you create a good network.
Yeah, that's great advice. And now if you just think about, like, where did you find your events, like where you joined? Was it like you went on the internet and looked for random networking
I did it completely different.
I
feel like people focus so much on events. Network is people. And I obviously felt that I met the best people doing sports.
Oh, interesting.
Because you also don't judge each other, because you don't know your background. When you go to sports, you don't know who you are. I feel like when you go to these events and like these networking events, everyone's like, I'm the CEO, I'm the founder, I'm this, I'm that. And you already build this expectation or this fear.
True.
Whereas when you go into sports, you have no clue. You could sit next to an accountant or the founder of a multi-billion-dollar company and you don't know. And I feel like the first interaction is the personal interactions, right? I know we have this famous question here, always like, what do you do? I try to avoid it. I feel like you go into paddle or you go into something else, running or whatever, you usually talk about other things, right? Common interests. And I think that's what builds the trust. Later on, you figure out, oh my God, you figure out what people are doing. And that's usually when I connect people. I'm like, oh my God, I know someone that could actually help you. And I start connecting people. But I feel like if you go on that level, like you're not sports clothes, you don't know, what's your background, where you at. So I feel like sports is an amazing opportunity in the region to get to know people, to create a community, for friendships, for anything. It's very, very down to earth. And then you can obviously leverage the events here and so on to go out and just learn to pitch, right? Learn to go out there, talk to different people. I think another thing I would never do is focus on one industry, because people know people. I've always gone to all different kinds of industries, from tech to construction to fintech to creative areas. I never ever stick to one industry.
That's a great advice. And actually I also found most of my friends group also doing like my book club, which I'm hosting, which is, we are talking about books. And then there, as you're saying, like people come from different industries, different levels. Some just, got started, have an entry job, versus others are successful business owners. That's actually really nice to start on a very relationship oriented level, which is about building the trust. That's great advice, and very, very unusual. That's very unique angle, which is really great. I think
there's you always need to find kind of the third door, right? Because if you do it the way that everyone else is doing, it was like finding my job here. Everyone was going through LinkedIn, and I feel like that's the worst way of finding a job. So I was like, okay, how can I do it in a different way? How can I find a way that not everyone is finding a job? So I pretended I live here, and I was flying here. I was like, I gave completely up on LinkedIn, and this is obviously where the first idea came from. As like I flew here, was interested in other people. I never talked about that I'm looking for a job for the first couple of meetings. Never. I was interested in other people, what they're doing. I was more interested in finding a company that reflects my values and the culture that I want to work in. And being generally interested in that. And so people were open to meet and build these relationships. And that's how I found my job at the end of the day.
Amazing. Did you join any government programs, any kind of accelerators or incubators? Did you explore this?
I did, but I didn't go for it. I completely bootstrapped at that time. I think it can be the wrong approach, can be the right approach. I don't know. I feel like at that time I was doing it part-time next to my full-time job in my free time. So obviously there was, and most accelerators are expecting you to be in full-time, and most of the criteria I couldn't fulfill. I think that's something that really needs to change, because we cannot ask people to just fully give up their cash flow for a startup that doesn't generate cash flow at the very beginning, right? I think that's sometimes very, very naive and a request that makes probably a lot of startups also fail at the beginning, because you just run it with panic and you cannot make good decisions based on panic. So I was not even able, even if I had wanted to, maybe there would have been programs out there that would have supported that. I couldn't find them. I didn't have the time. I had a full-time job, and then in the evenings, on the weekends, I was working on the startup. So I just couldn't find a program that was supporting someone who was doing it next to their full-time job. So yeah, maybe that will change in the future. But there are definitely good programs out there. I think it's changing now. I think there's more and more coming. And it's just finding the right program for you. I think it's a mess. I think there's never this one perfect program. It's more or less which industry you're in, which problem you're solving, and then you just need to go out there, ask questions, talk to other founders, and figure out where do you fit in, right? Which programs fulfilling the guidance and the resources that you need.
True. Do you have any other communities you're joining regularly? Because you're saying like you're interacting with founders, like where do you meet them?
I have ADHD. I'm like everywhere. I think it's the same, right? For me, it's always purpose driven now. I think, especially in Dubai, we get sucked into all kinds of communities and groups and this and that. We want to be everywhere. We have FOMO. My advice would be to stop that. Focus on the groups. Same as sports, where you feel like, okay, this is where I get the most value out of it, right? It's great people of good values, where you feel like, okay, they're either making me a better person, they're growing me in my sports goal, they're growing me as a person, they're helping me grow as someone, as a leader, as a business person, whatsoever. I think if you choose that's probably the most value, because I feel like at some point you see we have like 1 million groups on WhatsApp, right? And you're like, oh my God, and then you get overwhelmed. So now I cut all of that down. So every group I'm joining is something where I feel like, okay, I'm getting better at paddle, or I'm getting better as a business person, or I learn something where I have people next to me where I feel like I can learn from in whatever way. And I think that's the best approach. Otherwise you just get lost.
True.
Like
it can be quite
FOMO, because like a million things are going on.
I agree. And I mean, also after a certain time, you probably found your people, which maybe go to different events 100%. And you can go together.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just, I think most people struggle with the first time going alone, where I feel like in Dubai, it's amazing because people are super open here.
True.
I think it's tougher in Europe sometimes to go somewhere alone. But I feel like here, everyone is here as an expat. And I've never had that experience where I didn't feel like welcomed, or you didn't easily get into a conversation with people. I think people just need to overcome that fear of the first step of going somewhere alone. Unfortunately, that's something that no one can help you with. You just need to do it. That's why I'm saying the sports
could be an easy way in.
It's an easier way, less pressure, because you can basically start exploring to open conversations with other people, and it's less unforced. It's not like a business kind of environment.
You don't have to perform like, what's the elevator pitch?
And
what
you
do
have
you
the same
do?
interest, right? Because you're already somewhere where you have the same interest and you're sharing the same interest. So if you meet even people for business there, you're already built on a foundation, right? Of the same interest, where you feel like, okay, let's meet, have paddle and have a chat afterwards, which already creates a relationship, right?
True. Nice. So then we have one question from the community. Question is, if you had to start from scratch, which you just very recently did,
How many times?
What would you do first, like in the business setup?
I think, oh my God, we're going to sound like everyone else now. Validate the idea, right? Because I think we can get so excited about the ideas that we have. And I think I have full-blown ADHD and I have like a million ideas per day. And I think everything seems shiny and you tend to jump from one to the next. Even when you have decided for the idea you're going for and you're validating it, all of a sudden everyone else seems more successful and you feel like, oh my God, I have to adjust to this business model. Oh no, actually, should I go from B2B to B2C? Oh no, okay, actually they make more money with this. And you seem to be so distracted by everything that's going on.
Yeah.
So I think just deciding on one thing, and I think that's as famous, one product, one channel, one thing, and just test that. And I think right now it's the best time to test things because you have AI. You literally in 5 minutes can build an MVP. Don't build the full product, please, on live coding, just MVP. And test it and see if people are interested in it. I think in the past, when I started, it wasn't that advanced. So it cost me way more money to do the market research. I had to do everything manually at that time. And then testing it, so it took me up to 6 months. That's now cut down in 2 weeks or even days, right? Where you can go out, see, oh, do people like it? Will people pay for it? You know, I mean, it's $1 or $2. It's very simple now, and you don't, it's not the barriers are not there anymore. And I think that's the most important part because we get so excited at the beginning, and now you can validate it in like minutes and experiment with it.
Okay, so I hear two things. So one is like validate the idea, and then you also said something like maybe go with the smallest possible version before you kind of build a blown out product. This combination.
And it's funny because we all do the same. Everyone is saying it and everyone is doing the same mistakes again. I mean, some people do it at the very beginning. They're smarter. They just know how to nail it down and test it and validate it properly. But I think we tend to be like, okay, but if this feature is not there, they're not getting the full value. And then you talk yourself into the cycle of, I have to build it out to a certain extent. Otherwise, they're not going to get the full value, which is not true. It's like you can now just test it on one channel, test one simple thing. And I think there's so many examples now, like with waiting lists and so on, where you can create already a funnel before you even build the product.
True.
So you can actually show them to accelerators and so on that you already have traction. Right? And you have a lot of interest because 200 people already signed up in the last hour and are interested in a product like that. And that saves you a lot of money because once you start investing money, you have a validation that it makes sense to put money in.
Yeah, and also like it's especially for those early adopters, it's also very exciting for them to see like how they're helping shaping it, right? How new kind of features are being unlocked over time. So that's also something I have seen that start with something small and then invite maybe even the community via social media or your network to kind of help you shape it. Then they also feel more engaged about it.
And I think actually my biggest lesson, what am I saying? I think my biggest lesson is the co-founders. Maybe even more important, because what I've seen is that if you have an amazing team, they can make a shitty product work.
Okay.
And build a great business around it. I put my focus on, I was so obsessed with fixing a problem, on making an impact and caring so much about the outcome that I ignored the issues of the person I was working with. And made a lot of excuses. And I was like, okay, but it's so hard to find a good co-founder, which it is, right? Like, I think a lot of companies are still failing because of co-foundership. And then we talk ourselves into this, there's no one else. I don't know what to do, is what I did, right? I was like, it's really hard to find someone else. Now at this stage, to change a person, it's really hard. You make excuses. And that cost me my company at the end of the day. So I feel like even maybe more important, maybe on the same level, is choose very, very wisely. It's like a marriage. You probably even spend more time with your co-founder than with your partner.
Okay.
Is who do you do business with? Do they have the same values? There are great questionnaires out there where you can go and test, but observe people because it can cost you your entire company, and I paid the price for it, right?
Okay.
And I think that's a big lesson for me.
It's true. So now with that lesson for your next adventure, are you also looking again for a co-founder?
At the moment, I'm a damaged solopreneur. I'm like with my trust issues. At the moment, I decided to stay as a solopreneur. I'm definitely looking into it and considering it, but it would require a certain time of maybe working as partners together and observing how it goes. So you create the trust and then deciding, okay, you bring it now together into one business. But I think it's normal, like when you're burned, that you need some time to recover. And I think that's why I wanted to focus now on service, not immediately go back into building and tech. But it's like with service, I feel like you can make an immediate impact. You can help people. You can bring all your experience, the bad, the good, the different angles that I had as a founder, as a consultant, as someone who was working internally in a corporate, putting it all together, and you feel like you can heal a little bit, and then maybe in 1 or 2 years I can go back to the tech bro.
Yeah, and when the time is right, then maybe for the next marriage, the right partner is coming. When the time is right, the right opportunity will open up. I'm pretty sure.
100%. I mean, if it's supposed to be, it will come, right? It's like you're gonna attract it if it's the right timing and the right person. It will come together. And I love working with other people and building and doing things in teams. You can get excited about. So, hopefully that will come.
Absolutely. So the last question we then have is, how can people, either if they want to become your co-founder or if they are just curious about what you're working on, what would be the best way to get to know more about you? How can people contact you?
Yeah, shame on me. I'm not fully present on Instagram yet. I'm focusing right now on LinkedIn.
Okay, perfect.
So definitely on LinkedIn. I mean, you have my LinkedIn contact. So mainly there at the moment, and then my website. Definitely. Perfect. So these two.
Wonderful. Amazing. So you put that also in the show notes so that people can find you. Thank you so much, Carolin.
Thank you.
It was. Thank you so much for the insights on so many different angles, and wishing you, of course, all the best with your new adventure.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
Thank you. High five.